Want to bet? Then get in on the action at Sports Interaction. The boys of summer are back on the diamond, and March Madness is on deck. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Or in Ontario, download the app now using the QR code at the bottom of the screen. 19 plus, and please play responsibly.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What is up? What is up? Good evening, humans, plant life, and small aardvarks. It's your boy, Avry Lewis McDougall here, bringing you another episode of Game Over Edmonton on SDPN Sports. How you doing, gang? What's going on? Well, that was certainly an interesting tilt between Edmonton and Winnipeg as the Jets win 7-5. Jets knock off a 5-game skid. Edmonton splits the home and home between them and Winnipeg. And that was a game in which, well, you don't want 7 goals to beat the Winnipeg Jets. It happened. It was a game in which offensively they did a lot of great things, but defensively there were more than a few issues on this club. And I don't blame Twitter right now. Do I see Twitter right now? Jack Campbell is trending on Twitter. Yikes, that is not a good sign. It was a game in which defensively for the Oilers, there were a lot of frustrating elements of this game tonight. And I'm sure in the chat, I'm sure in the SDPN chat, people are going to have many thoughts on what happened on tonight's game. I know there's going to be quite a few opinions as to what happened because it was a game which Edmonton should have had. This was a game in last night in which we saw them look very strong against the Jets in Rogers Place. This team looked to be in sync and playing very well against Winnipeg in a game in which Leon Draisaitl and many other Oilers had their way with this team. And now the chat, the chat's popping here. The usuals, Hater, MGD, a lot of good usual faces here in the chat. Hope you're all having a wonderful Saturday night. Hope you're all enjoying things, staying safe. I know the Oilers game didn't go as much as you would have wanted, but this is a game in which I said offensively, Leon Draisaitl. We saw him last night have a great game. We saw him again today have a great game. So the positives. Had a hat trick, 41 goals tonight. The most power play goals in Edmonton Oiler history. It's so funny when we talk about the discussion is around so much of what Connor McDavid does. And look, of course, we know what McDavid is doing. The man is on pace for a 157-point campaign in the hardest era of hockey. But sometimes I think people forget to an extent Draisaitl is still here and contributing on a pace that is also bonkers. He's got 41 goals. Might crack 50 again. Might have another 50-goal campaign in an Oilers jersey. He's going to surpass 100 points easily. But what he did tonight, he was one of the biggest straws that stirred the drink for the Oilers tonight in this game. But defensively, there's too many defensive errors on Edmonton's part that let Winnipeg not only get back into this game, but to have a lead, he didn't surrender. And then Jack Campbell in net. Jack Campbell, now there were times where he did make a few good saves, but he couldn't string them together. That's the big thing with Jack Campbell right now is that he'll make a few good saves, but he has to string them together. Now, I'll say as much. Stopping deflections, that's tough. That's very hard to stop deflection. But other goals in which he should have, it's tough to not put the blame on him for other goals that were not deflections that got past him in his game tonight. But in general, defensively, this is not a sharp game. This was not a sharp game at all. We saw the Jets' 5th goal, in which Cody Ceci had an awful sequence in his own end of the ice. Cody Ceci did not have a good game in that sense. It's like, as much as, yes, we do want Jack Campbell to make big saves, the guys in front of him have to step up a little more consistently. MPD commenting, the Oil are asking too much of CC. I wonder if we see Bush move up with Nurse and move CC down. Not impossible. That's a good question. I could see it happen. I could see them moving CC down and putting him with Ekholm, because Matthias Ekholm is such a stable and calming presence on that back. And from what we've watched with him, he's only played a couple of games now with the Edmonton Oilers. But I like what Matthias Ekholm has done in the Edmonton Oilers jersey in his 3 games here now as a member of the Oilers. I like what he's done so far. We've watched him jump into plays. We watched him. His first pass is amazing. He's a great passer. So I think it wouldn't hurt at all to put Ekholm with Bouchard in the back end. CC in the back end to calm things down. So I wouldn't shock me at all. And M. Bouchard, though. M. Bouchard is number one got D-man on the PP. I like what Bouchard has brought for a very long time in the power play. I like now that since Tyson Barrie is now in Nashville, the reins have now shifted over fully to letting Aaron Bouchard be that power play captain on PP1. So I think that's a great thing for Aaron Bouchard, getting more power play time. He's done a masterful job so far here with the Oilers. And once again, if you like what you see, like what you enjoy here on Game Over Edmonton, please like, subscribe, comment, share the video, share what I do, share what Zach does, share what Dennis does, all the network. We had a massive day for trade deadline day. We had a show that went over 3,000 viewers. It was fun to do the mass collab show with all the Game Over contributors for the trade deadline show. It was 2 hours, a lot of talking since I was on the main panel, but it was fun to do a show with everybody from all across the network. We haven't done a show like that yet on Game Over, but I had fun, and hopefully we do more shows like that in the future, because it was fun to go on air with everybody from Game Over Ottawa, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto. It was fun. It was really fun to do a whole network collaborative show. But back to the game here at hand tonight, and now Edmonton moves on to Buffalo. But again, there are still some things that have to be cleaned up on the back end, even though we're seeing improvements. And Zach, here's Zach jumping in. What's going on, Zach? I'm sure you're frustrated. As much as we saw play that was great from Draisaitl, we saw Matthias Janmark score tonight. I'm sure you're watching this game just frustrated about the deficiencies on the D tonight, and just the breakdown that happened that let Winnipeg secure the lead tonight. Thank you, MGD. Appreciate that. The trade deadline show was a lot of fun to do. And for those of you, I'll post a picture on Twitter. For those of you who don't know, Zach and myself met in person at the Edmonton Winnipeg game last night. I'll post a picture to Twitter. I'll post it on my Instagram. But yeah, Zach and myself met up during the admission of the Oilers Jets game. It was fun to. I've now formally met Zach and Dennis in the flesh. So that was great to see. Great to chop it up with Zach for a little bit during the second intermission of the Edmonton Winnipeg game. That was fun to meet him. It's always better talking to somebody you work with over in person than over just Zoom. And Zach, you're not the first person. You're not the first person to talk about a Jack Campbell buyout. I'm very much in the camp of let Jack Campbell have one more year to work through this. Give Jack Campbell a year 2. I'm not ready to cut bait just yet on Jack Campbell after year 1. I'm going to give Campbell a second year to bounce back. If we're at the halfway point of year 2 and Jack Campbell is still, because we knew Jack Campbell had his moments of being Jekyll and Hyde. But if Jack Campbell in year 2 is still even worse than what we expected, it might be time. It might be time to cut bait. Because it's save percentage. I know we talked about the struggles last year of Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith that happened last year. Those two had their struggles. Those two, at times, it was iffy watching Smith and Koskinen during their tenure in Edmonton. But when you go through his stats here, like Zach is doing right now, you look at the numbers of Jack Campbell, and unfortunately, you look at the numbers right now, Campbell's numbers right now aren't better than Smith or Koskinen. I didn't think I would be saying that, but it's true. Right now, Jack Campbell's stats aren't better than Smith or Koskinen. Of course, you can't go back to Koskinen and Smith. Koskinen's in Europe, and Mike Smith is done. He's done. His last year was deal on LTIR. Mike Smith is probably going to retire once this season is over. But it is very alarming to see numbers of Jack Campbell and realize that, Smith and Koskinen put up better numbers than what Jack Campbell is doing right now. Even in the days when we saw Cam Talbot struggle, Cam Talbot was bad. Cam Talbot was great for most of his tenure. When Talbot had moments of struggling, it wasn't nearly as bad as Jack Campbell. So I do think that right now the net is Stuart Skinner. I still believe firmly number one guy in net should be Stuart Skinner. I do believe Stuart Skinner is the number one netminder going forward. I think you go back to Skinner for against Buffalo, and you keep Skinner. You ride Stuart Skinner for a next little while. You ride Skinner in that net for a bit. He's your number one guy going forward, and he's proven it overall throughout this season that that's your number one netminder. And Jack Campbell, to me, it's no longer 1A, 1B. It's 1-2, and you got a clear number one and a clear number two in net for this franchise. When this season began, when this year began, the plan wasn't to have the number one be Skinner, two be Campbell. That wasn't the plan whatsoever. Heck, you could tell management. I know management wasn't expecting Stuart Skinner to be the all-star goalie this year over Jack Campbell. But it's clear who the better netminder is for the franchise. You know what? It's not a bad thing. Stuart Skinner is younger. He's the guy you can ride as your main guy for the next few seasons. His game is only going to develop and get better. As we see here, Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner's stats in net. Jack Campbell, 17 wins, 8 losses, 4 OT losses. Goals against average, 348, and an 884 save percentage. An 884 save percentage. In 2023, that just isn't good enough. In the modern era of the NHL, an 884 goals against average is not cutting it to be a starting netminder, no matter what team you play for. That can't happen. That can't be the case. And it sucks because I know we want that to work. I know we want Jack Campbell Edmonton to work out. Other stats coming down here. Dylan, you're right, though, yeah. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Dylan. Yeah, exactly. As much as we do go on Campbell, in front of him has to be better. He needs help defensively. And Zach Wheel, our Zach. Ben Scrivens, Victor Fox, Nikolai Habibulin had better numbers than Jack Campbell. Oh, my God, yeah. MGD, 884 wasn't good enough in the 80s. We can go back and look at the evolution of goaltending over the 80s and 90s and towards, the late 80s or 90s. Good to better was in the 900s, low 900s, 890s, 884. Once you got out of the mid 80s, that wasn't good enough. It was good guys who were able to crack 900. Ricky Scrivens, know what? Hey, I'll never forget, Rick. The Ben Scrivens 59 save shutout. That was a game. That was certainly a game I remember very well in the annals of my memory bank when it comes to Edmonton Oilers hockey. That was certainly a fun game to watch when Ben Scrivens balled out that night. Well, I do want to say, though, it was good to see Nick Bjugstad. Good to see Nick Bjugstad in his first game as an Edmonton Oiler get on the score sheet, get his first goal in an Oilers jersey. And I want to know, maybe I'll ask Nick in the locker room when they're back in Edmonton. Nick, wearing 72, did you pay Hunter yet? Did you buy Hunter a Rolex? Because that was a funny thing that was asked from Tony Brar during his zone press conference. We had to find out if what Bjugstad has done to repay Hunter for taking his number 72 this past week here. But no, good to see him chip in that game against Winnipeg. Bjugstad is a guy we knew he was going to come in, be a depth addition at forward, and as you'd like to see. Him going in first game of the year, gets to the front of the net, bangs home the loose puck, past Hellebuck. That's what you need. And you look at Bjugstad using his body. Remember, Bjugstad's a big boy. Nick Bjugstad is 6'6". He's not tiny whatsoever. He plays a big game and gets to the front of the net. So you like seeing him do that and put up points for his team. He came and did what you thought he was going to do. So it's a great sign to see Nick Bjugstad get his first goal as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Wonderful to see. But yeah, this run here, it would have been nice to see Edmonton. It would have been certainly nice for them to get both wins in this home-and-home series. Even just get a point. Even just get a point would have been great to see against Winnipeg. But other notes on this team tonight, the power play. The power play once again stepped up. That is not going to be an issue for a prolonged period of time. We all know this. We talk about that every Game Over episode. We talk about that on Twitter and other platforms. We know how the power play is going to roll for the Edmonton Oilers. It's always going to be running hot for most of the year. We'll take a look at the NHL standings after that game and just how the logjam continues to logjam. It's, again, Edmonton battling for the division title with Seattle, LA, Vegas. Vegas holds a 4-point lead on the division. But I said before on the Game Over Trade Deadline Day show, as much as it would be fun to see Jonathan Quick win off of spite against the LA Kings, I'm not sure Jonathan Quick is the mid to long-term answer for Vegas. I really don't know. Because he hasn't had a great year in LA before he's up. He hadn't had a great year. It was a down year for him. But I know Jonathan Quick has been a great top goaltender, but I'm not sure how much more he can do for the Vegas Golden Knights. So if I'm the Oilers, I'm looking at Vegas as right now being a very catchable team in the division. As Edmonton, after the loss tonight, they are still in wild card number 1. 3 points up on Vegas, on Colorado in wild card number 2 spot. And then Calgary. Oh my gosh, Calgary, 67 points. I know, I say it all the time. Plenty of hockey to be played, but Calgary right now is falling off hard when it comes to chasing down Colorado or Edmonton or Seattle for the Pacific, the number 3 slot. The Flames are 3-4-3 in their past 10 games, so catching either Colorado, Edmonton, or Seattle, that is slipping away by the day. That is becoming a distant memory, further and further and further and further. Oh my gosh. That is not being at the tough thing for the Flames. Jack Campbell, let's see. Now I got a Jack Campbell discussion here in the chat room. A Jack Campbell buyout. Yeah, I'm thinking more people here in the chat are discussing the idea of buying out Jack Campbell. Oof, how things have turned on, how the tides have changed from Campbell from October to now, before the season began, the hope, and then we saw October, and then we saw how things have gone with the past little while here. Oh boy. And yeah, Devin Shore, great point, Devin Shore. He has been stepping up again. Devin Shore has played great as of late. You like seeing that. That's what this team is going to need late in the season. You're going to need all 4 of your lines contributing come late in this season or into the postseason. You're going to need that. So seeing Devin Shore get things going right now is great. Oh yeah, Nashville. You know what? Nashville's still in. They're still in things. I trust Nashville more than I do Calgary. Is that fair to say? I trust Nashville getting back in a playoff spot right now more than I do Calgary. And again, it's not just any bias, but I think right now I don't trust what's going on with the Sutter Flames right now. I've said it before. I think Daryl Sutter's time as the Flames head coach has come and gone. The moves he made hasn't really worked out as we want to in year 1 in Calgary. I don't know. I just trust the Flame. I trust the Predators more than I do Calgary get that last wildcard spot. Even though it's going to be tough. for either team to get the wildcard spot in Western Conference. But I'm seeing MGD. How do you run the goalies next week? Buffalo Monday, Boston Thursday, and Toronto Saturday. Whew. You know, I just don't know if you can run Campbell against Boston or Toronto. I really don't know. I think you might have to go with Stu until then. And then at the same time, you can't burn out Stewart. You can't burn him out, but I think you got to go next few games here, next 2 or 3 games. You ride Stewart, keep him in there as your main guy. Like, there isn't really many options right now. You can really go back to Skinner right now. I'm sorry, go back to Campbell. I'm not confident right now. I think many people are in chat not really that confident right now in Jack Campbell's play from what he can do, because this should have been a winnable game. Even though Winnipeg, yes, is a good team, Edmonton, after last night, should have been able to get the home-and-home sweep. Because even Buffalo is a good team right now. That's a team that's surging in the Eastern Conference. So I go Stewart next little bit here. We look further in the schedule. I'm thinking you're right. You go with Stewart, Skinner, Buffalo, Boston, Toronto, Campbell against Ottawa, and then back to Skinner against Dallas. I trust Campbell against Ottawa. Ottawa is a game you can put Jack Campbell in against. But then go again. Dallas, Seattle, Stu, San Jose, Campbell. Give the next 2 to Campbell. After that, give San Jose and Arizona to Jack Campbell. Then Vegas, Stewart, Skinner. Like, there are spots to put in Jack Campbell, but I'm not putting Jack Campbell right now in against the Boston Bruins or Buffalo or Toronto. Right now, I think that's just a little bit too risky to do right now. But again, there are spots this year to put him in. San Jose, Arizona, Ottawa. That's where I would put Jack Campbell in. Yeah. Hater, yeah, that's Jay Hater. We can never predict your seasons. That's very true. Yeah, and it's like, see, Jack Campbell it's such a weird thing in which when Campbell is just okay, it's fine. When he's just an okay netminder, it's good enough. It's good enough to get by. It's when he's not able to string together saves and it goes down. And when it goes downhill on Jack, it goes down badly. And he struggles in terms of getting it back together again. That's a major, major problem right now. And we saw that back in October. We're seeing it here. And it's too bad because he had a nice little run where he was unbeaten for a string of games before it went back again to Jack Campbell struggling mightily in that net for the Oilers. But it'll be interesting to see how. I want to know how Woodcroft is going to handle things come late in the season, come postseason. Because I think in a postseason series, you gotta go entirely with Stewart Skinner if you're playing in a series against the Vegas Golden Knights or the LA Kings or whoever else they'll get in that first round matchup. Because as it stands right now, they're playing round 1, Vegas in round 1. As it stands right now, the last NHL, if the series started today, predictor came out this morning. So postseason comes around, my guy is Stewart Skinner to get you the starts in net. That's how it should be. Then again, I'm not Jay Woodcroft, but I do think that's what Jay would go if we're talking about starting a series come April. But either way, entertaining game. As much as, yes, Edmonton did lose, that game was entertaining. That second period, don't tell me you were bored. During that second period, you could not tell me you were bored for 1 second. I was trying to take care of my notes. I was trying to get the show in order, figure out what to discuss, how we're going to go, and I could not take my head off the TV for a second. I was trying to focus on my notes, get this show ready, get everything prepped and ready. But wow, I could not keep my head down for too long to prep for the show. So it was a bit of a battle. It was, don't get me wrong. As we saw in the second period, 7 goals in the second period. If you were down Winnipeg at this game tonight, you got your money's worth with that 7-goal second period. You were entertained and you were enthralled, no matter if you were a Jets fan or if you were an Oilers fan. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you were enjoying that game. I know, sorry defense, but I love my high-scoring games. I do. I truly enjoy my high-scoring games. And I'll go back to a second here on Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard with 3 points tonight. A 3-point night for Evan Bouchard. Those are the kind of things you love to see as he is more and more trusted as one of the top D-men on his team. Bouchard played 24 minutes tonight, 3 assists. Like, that's what you love seeing. But going back in here, other players, I noticed too lately, Vinny Desharnais, he has struggled. He hasn't had his best couple of games lately. Vinny played only 8:27 tonight. He's had a run of games where he has struggled lately. He's had to take a few penalties, been a bit iffy, and I hope he gets out of this funk because that's the kind of defenseman you need on the back end, not taking silly penalties, figuring things out. And you need Vinny Desharnais playing a little bit more than that it was tough. And Broberg played 7:32. But yeah, Desharnais, he's someone I've spoken highly of before on this show. I like the stability he brings to the bottom pairing. But yeah, Vinny Desharnais lately hasn't been feeling it. I hope he can turn things around because defensively, he's been better. He's been one of the better guys called from Bakersfield this year. But these past few games, he has struggled badly. And then Cody Ceci, all year long, Cody Ceci has just... last year wasn't that bad. Last year's first year in Edmonton, it was a bit of a redemption year for him after the struggles he's had in Toronto and in Ottawa. But this year, Cody Ceci has looked just lost. It's unfortunate. The end. We'll get the same thing as crap. What? Oh, that's funny. Yo, never know what you're gonna find in this chat. Thankfully, bet the over on this game. Yo, I think most Oiler games you have to bet the over on, just out of principle. Just sheer principle. I think most people who are of the gambling variety gotta go with the over when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers because you never know what you're gonna get with this club. But either way, Edmonton off to Buffalo on Monday night against the Sabres team that is looking really, really good in the Eastern Conference. I'm a huge fan of what Tage Thompson's done for that club, so it'll be no slouch for a game for the Oilers. About to come ready against the Buffalo Sabres team that is surging and pushing towards their first playoff berth in the Eastern Conference in over a decade. They've had their own decade of darkness in Buffalo, and they're on their way to getting out of that funk. Good for them. A lot of guys in Buffalo are very likable. I want to see succeed. Like Tage Thompson, like Jeff Skinner, a fun core in Buffalo. So Edmonton is on their way there. They will take on the Sabres on Monday night. That'll be a very entertaining game to watch. And the guys, Dennis and Zach, they'll have the episode of Game Over Edmonton for you. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm on there. Sorry, my bad. I'm hosting that episode. I forgot that was me doing that show. Oh my gosh. I'm like, wait, no, I'm hosting that episode. I'm trying to get more work to Zach and Dennis. No, I'm in the chair again, recapping Edmonton Buffalo on Monday night. We'll chop it up then. And hey, we're going to have some more guests coming to Game Over Edmonton soon. Stay tuned. I'm cooking some stuff up, so stay tuned to see what I've got coming on the show later on. Not this show, but we got some more fun stuff planned for you here on SDPN. Anyways, I'm Avry, and I am out of here. I'll talk to you all again on Monday night to recap Edmonton and Buffalo. Enjoy your Saturday night. Have fun. Stay safe. Peace.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.